the thing is that once you do connect to that other world, that real world, really, you start to see how things really are. You can also, and this is probably an important point, you can also bend time to get a glimpse at what the future holds. Yeah, not only for your life, but for humanity. And you can do this, by anyway, you can do this with sometimes, especially from the world of art, a piece of music or an art or a film can actually speak. Yeah, if that piece connects to you as an individual, and then you use that reference point to then connect to the what is in the presence of nature. You can do this by almost emptying your mind of distraction and allowing this connection to this overarching knowledge base. So bending time, seeing the future. So I watched a 1982 film called Blade Runner, and on initial viewing, absolutely disliked it quite a lot, mainly because I was holding so much expectation, given that I was a big fan of the film Alien by Ridley Scott, and also the film Star Wars, or more specifically The Empire Strikes Back. I thought, well, this Blade Runner film is going to be a blend of these two things. It's got Harrison Ford, and you sort of think, well, yeah, this could be anything. This could be like, quite a long-awaited. Anyway, but it's only years later when I got to know the workings of someone like writer like Philip K. Dick and his ideas, his vision of the future, that you start thinking, well, maybe this guy, so maybe there's a lot of truths in what he's put down in the book, and therefore the film, because they are reasonably faithful to what Philip K. Dick came up with. In fact, the way he visually illustrated the film, I think Philip K. Dick was very impressed by that, his vision of a future world. In particular, there are themes. I don't know if it's in the book or not. In the book, there was, I think, themes of environmental disaster. So certainly, we are told that there's been some sort of environment collapse, biospheres, species. I've talked in previous podcasts about this term species deceases, and entire wildlife entities wiped out from mankind's pursuit of pollution and basically war. There is an indication that that the world has experienced some sort of nuclear fallout, and that's why a lot of the shots are grey, and it's raining and it's steamy and it's unpleasant, and we're forced to eat alternate foods. The idea that we can have sardines or whatever from the oceans, it's fallen by the wayside. In fact, in the sequel, we are told that that we've got by, the population of the world has got by just by this worm food, if you want. But anyway, it's another. But mankind has progressed obviously with its technological advancement. We've now got flying cars, and especially in the world of what would you call replicant stuff? I suppose that's bioengineering, or I don't know what you'd call it, but cloning, I suppose you might refer to it as. Anyway, so then you sort of think, well, okay, well, what does that mean? I've seen a film, I sort of get quiet, I can think about this film and I connect to it and I think, well, geez, this could be the future, so what does that mean for me? And what that means for me is that if I care about not so much me, but for my bloodline or my DNA lineage, I would think, well, maybe a place like, there's certain places where you don't want to be. You certainly want to get away from the equator, I would suggest. And in my mind, you want to get as far south as you want to get down as far south as you possibly can. And so in Australia, that means for me one state, and that state is Tasmania, which also happens to be, in my mind, perfect for earthships. And that's where this thing, which I'm currently sitting in, comes into play, because this new world that I talk of, this Blade Runner world, I think if there is that level of collapse, there's going to be collapse at different levels, and the individual, I believe, may well be asked to just look after themselves. So again, that's where I think earthships come into play, because what better, rather than learning about accountancy or whatever takes your fancy, maybe aged care work is something that turns you on. I would suggest that maybe a field of learning that you may want to go down is just sustainable housing or sustainable living, which includes garnering water, how to manage food or grow food. There's a lot of just the mechanics of building an earthship or building a sustainable house. That is there's quite a lot of learning involved there. And the best type of learning, and this is where I think earthships are quite useful, is that it's a very forgiving type of build. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Certainly my example is not perfect, but the word that I would use is functional. The stuff works. We've had a lot of rain in Queensland, albeit, and a lot of mosquitoes about. So I don't know if this is particularly mosquito proof, but there's ways to get around mosquitoes as well. Like, once you go down, there's things like mosquito nets, there's mosquitoes. But anyway, in a place like Tasmania, hopefully that won't be too much of a problem. So that's where I am, in summary, the connection between art, a film like Blade Runner, the future, what I see happening in the next period of time, and where I think I need to position myself going forward. So a lot of that prep work needs to be done now, to maybe set myself up in a place like Tasmania, where I believe, it's a state of the future.